Hello everyone, Phil Rowley here and welcome to my tying bench. Today I'm going to tie you another variation of one of my favorite flies, the Balanced Leech. This one features Arizona Simi Seal in Watermelon Red. This color combination has proved especially deadly for me these past few seasons, in the fall in particular, especially when fish are in the shallows. So why don't you join me and I'll show you how to tie it. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to get notifications of future videos, hit the bell as well. Also, check out the comments for a full pattern listing and all the tools and materials I used when I tied this great little fly. Let's get to the bench. If you've watched any of my previous tying videos, then you probably know I'm a big believer in balanced flies, especially balanced leeches. This latest version features Watermelon Red Arizona Simi Seal and has quickly become a personal favorite, especially during the fall. Make sure you have these materials so you can add this pattern to your fly box. I'm now going to tie a balanced leech variation that's been working very well for me in the last couple of seasons, particularly in the fall months, and it's Watermelon Red. So into the jaws of the vise, I've got a Daiichi 4640 number 10. I tie this in 10s majority of the time. It works really well in that size. We're going to attach some olive tying thread. You could use black. Doesn't really show through. The whole overall color of the fly is dark olive. We'll snap off the thread by pulling down on the bobbin like so and then snapping forward, and we're just going to get that shank covered, and then I'm going to take a sequin pin and I've slid on a 1/8 black nickel tungsten bead, and we're securing that on so it protrudes out over in front of the eye. So if you were to look at this bead, you know, you get the proportions right for the balance to take place, is that you could envision you get 2 more beads on the shank there. So we'll get that tied in, and my apologies for my beat up thumb. I've been wrestling with boat anchors and I lost. 20 pounds on your thumb hurts as you're lumping it around the boat. So I've coated the thread wraps with brushable superglue. So when I'm tying multiples of this fly, I would whip finish at this point, then coat, and set them aside to dry. But since we're tying all in one motion here, we'll just carry on. But you pre-build those chassis, and then you're ready to go. So we're just going to cover the hook shank with thread for added traction, and now we'll tie in our tail. So I'm bringing the thread right back up to the rear of that sequin pin. One of the benefits of the sequin pins over a cut common household pin, which you can certainly do, that you cut to length basically from the, if you drew a line down from the hook eye to the point, that's the sit and cut a bunch of the pins to that length. That would work, but you often get a ragged, jagged edge on that cut end of the pin that can break thread. The sequin pin comes to a nice tapered point and it isn't so hard on tying thread. And you get those sequin pins at Michael's is where I get them. In the stitchery section, they come in both silver and gold, and I think they're about $6 or $8 for 800 or something, so a lifetime supply. So for the tail, we are going to tie in some barred Marabou from MFC, olive and black, and I'm just going to take an entire plume and I'm just going to stroke the fibers together and measure up for a shank length, measure up a tail that is the same length from the end of the pin to the bend of the hook. So I'm just going to measure that up, take that like that, slide my thumb and forefinger back to this point, and we're going to secure the Marabou tail in from the back of the pin along the rear of the hook to the bend. So we even up our foundation, because right now we've got more bulk at the front from the diameter of that pin. So we're just going to use the Marabou and make sure we get a good firm tie-in as well. So we're just going to secure that along and bring the tying thread back up, and we've got a nice tail, nice barring. Then we're going to add a little bit of flash to it. Number 6906 copper Flashabou. I've notched the package so I can just reach in with my scissors points, like so, and pull out the number that I want. And I've been in this a few times, so I'm trying to just isolate, a couple of strands like so. Pulled out a little bit more than I needed, but I certainly didn't destroy the whole packet, the whole contents of the bag by taking them all out, because they all get kind of mashed and frayed. It's good for Flashabou sales, but we want this stuff to last a little while. So I've taken 2 strands, moistened them to keep them together. And I'm just going to just secure them onto the shank. And I've got a length sticking out in front that's at least shank length and a half, because I'm going to fold it back, but I'm going to take the Flashabou that's tied in, that's sort of, I'm going to take the Flashabou that is behind the initial tie-in point and just hold it along the side and secure that Flashabou down to the base of the tail along the side. Bring the thread forward in front of the hook point. Take the remaining clump forward to the tying point and fold it down the back side and secure it. I just like my Flashabou secured down the sides of the tail. I'm sure when the fly gets wet it really doesn't matter, but just, whoops, the remnants got in there. And just stroke all that together. You got just a subtle little flash. And then for the body, it's Arizona Simi Seal, and the color, as the fly's name, is watermelon red. It's a beautiful dark olive, little highlights in it, little mylar highlights, a little bit of black, real good dark color. It's watermelon red is the coloration. So we're going to come forward, pull down on the tying thread, bring that tying thread back up to form a loop, and then start winding that thread back, which closes up the loop. I'm now going to rotate my loop, get my forefinger still in the loop, and I'm going to rotate it to the top and secure that right down to the base. Come all the way up with our tying thread, right up to the rear of the bead. I'm going to introduce my dubbing tool. This is a Cal Bird style. Dr. Slick makes these with the weighted end. It's got all kinds of remnants stuck on it. Use this tool a lot. So I'm going to replace my forefinger with this hook. I'm going to take a pinch of this dubbing that I can read through and insert it at the bottom of the loop between the strands and slide it up so you can see it on camera, and make it nice and evenly distributed along the length of the loop. So I'm just going to continue to do this until I've got a dubbing loop completely loaded, even consistency all along its length. I don't have any heavy spots of dubbing, light spots of dubbing. I've made it as even as I can. And now I'm just going to start spinning slowly. Once I get it spun, I actually take my forefinger, hold it here, and just off camera I've given that dubbing whirl a good spin, and as I remove my finger, that twist is going to carry along its length, and then I'm going to come in and I can do some rough preening of the dubbing loop with my thumb and forefinger, and then I'm going to come in with a dubbing brush, pull out the remnants from the last fly, and then dubbing brush, and just gently brush out and free up the long mohair strands. That's what we want to do. A lot of times they'll twist around the tying thread, and we want to free them up, so I just gently kind of pluck and brush along the length of the dubbing loop, the dubbing noodle I've formed. And now I'm just going to wind this loop around. I got a fiber of the tail there, but we'll bury that. And we're just going to start winding one wrap in front of the other. And you notice with my beat up thumb and forefinger, I am just, with each wrap, preening those fibers back. We just brush them out. We don't want to trap them down because we want a nice bushy fly that's going to flow and breathe when it gets wet. Now we're just going to wind this all the way up. Still got it in the hook of the dubbing twister. And we're going to wind that up. We're going to come up to the hook eye and don't even worry about it. Just go right on by. A lot of times I'll come in like this on about a 45 and just make sure that next wrap is well and truly in there. And just keep winding forward, pushing that bead tight up against the hook eye. If you watch some of my earlier balanced flies, you see the evolution on how I tie these flies now, because I used to, push that bead up tight against the pin with tying thread, and then I started to realize why did I need to do that forming the fly. Ended up doing that and was able to eliminate a step. So we just tied that off, trim away the excess, take a little brushable super glue, coat the tying thread. That way the thread will carry the adhesive into the base behind the beads without getting it all over the fibers of the dubbing noodle, the dub body. We'll just finish it off with whip finish, and the tying portion is done. All that's left to do is come in with our dubbing brush once again and really give this fly an aggressive brush all along its length. So I'm going along all four sides, the near side, the far side, underneath, on top, just to brush and get those fibers all to flow back and blend in with the tail. And what I would do now once this is done is, once I've got all these flies done, and if you watch my ruby-eyed leech I tied on the channel, I show how you can style your dubbing by getting a glass of near boiling water, dipping the body of the fly in, saturating the dubbing fibers, and then that takes all the memory out and allows them to flow back, and it further augments that leech profile we're getting. So there you have it, Balanced Leech Watermelon Red. Over recent years it's been a real killer, particularly in the fall months. This dark coloration has worked really well for me. So stock up the Balanced Leech section of your fly box with this variation. For more information on fly fishing, and stillwater fly fishing in particular, please visit my website at flycraftangling.com. Here you will find fishing tips, fly patterns, articles, information regarding my seminars and schools, along with links to my blog and mine and Brian Chan's online stillwater fly fishing store. You can also visit our store directly at stillwaterflyfishingstore.com. While you're visiting my site, please join my mailing list to receive my educational newsletters. You can also follow me through my social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and give this video a like. Please take the time to watch my other videos as well. Thanks for watching.